What's up, car fam? Today's special guest is the 2023 BMW M340i. This is the one that comes with xDrive. This color, so sick. It's called Brooklyn Gray. Let me show you. So BMW did a lot of things right on this one. The last generation was nice, but I still feel like it was lacking a lot of just like exterior design elements to just really make it pop and not be as close to the 3 Series. But this one, the refresh model of the 3 Series just looks so much fresher. And then of course with this package you have the M Shadowline package and a couple other things that just makes it look so much more bossy. And then for someone that can't get their hands on the M3, or maybe that's a little bit out of budget, this one I feel like is the perfect sweet spot where you just get that performance that you like, you get the exterior upgrades. This with some mods, like, you're gonna be set, especially with this color. It's gonna be very timeless and look really good for years to come, just like other BMWs. But I really love the wheels, just classic, look super sick. And then love what they did with the red brake calipers. So I really love what they did with this refresh model this year for the BMW 3 Series. It just looks a lot more bossy, honestly, in my opinion. Like the design, what they did with the exterior, it just looks better. And then of course the inside, you get those upgrades, which I'll show you in a second. But even just from the exterior, you could tell it's beefed up a little bit with subtle details that makes it pop, and especially in the rear. And then you could tell too from what they did with the front grille here. I love how this just has that classic kidney grille shape, but it's just a little bit bigger. And then this area here at the bottom, you have some more area for airflow, and then it just looks better. The last 3 Series I felt was bland, even in the 340i, the M340i version. This one looks way better, and I feel like if you can't get your hands on an M3, this one you can't go wrong. Let's take a look around the back, because that's another angle that's my favorite. The sides is relatively the same in my opinion from just what I could see, but the back I feel is where the next biggest upgrade is, and especially with this exhaust package here. Like, it looks super sick. And then of course in this color Brooklyn Gray, like, everything pops. I feel like if this was black, of course this would be a little bit more muted and things like that, but because this one has that nice contrast, it just makes things look a lot better. And then that subtle spoiler on the rear just gives it that nice contrast to make everything look really dope. Let me turn the lights on so you can get a better idea. So then even just that at night, like, man, this car is super clean, love it. And then I don't want to tease you anymore. Let's take a look on the inside, because that's where the biggest upgrade is. I know some people may not like having such a big screen in the vehicle, and they like more of the classic BMW, where it's like, okay, partially digital and things like that. But going into 2023 and the price you're paying for this car, I think can really justify, like, hey, I might as well get the most bang for my buck. And the exhaust sounds really good, especially with the direction cars are going now. Like, it makes it a lot harder sometimes to be able to, like, fully enjoy cars if they don't have that sound that you like. Turn this down. Cool. So as you can see, everything is controlled from here, and then there's just a couple of things here. Obviously hazards, volume button, which is nice that they kept that, awesome. And then you have like your defrost, rear defrost and things like that, but everything else is fully digital. So from a driving standpoint, for the enthusiasts that are into this car, that's going to be something you're going to have to get used to for sure. But otherwise, you know, the look of it, it is definitely like cleaned up a lot. You could tell it just looks super sick. And then I love this section here. This the way it feels is really nice too. This has a couple of different packages on it, so I'll show the window sticker so that way you can get an idea of like what this one has, so then maybe you can decide if that's something that you want to do. And then this here I think is probably the best modern interpretation of, like, hey, you don't have the standard typical kind of like shifter. You have, you know, something that you just pull or adjust. This looks way better than what Volkswagen did with like the little shaver, and I think Porsche has that too on one of their cars, and that's just horrible. I'd rather just be completely flat and do this versus having something that like kind of sticks up like a little shaver. That was just horrible execution. But Still nice beefy, you know, steering wheel. I feel like these are getting way too thick in my opinion, like, and especially because the way it feels, it's not like the most premium feeling steering wheel, but this is how the rest of a lot of their lineup is. So you just, I'm sure if you own these cars and you've had BMWs in the past couple of years, you're used to it. But compared to other German cars and other luxury cars that I've been in, this is not my favorite feeling steering wheel. I think it could have been a little bit better on the material choice to kind of offset how thick it is, and that way it just doesn't feel like some cheap spongy material. But that's just my 2 cents. But I do like what they did with the paddle shifters here, compared to, let's say, like an Audi and other cars. Sometimes they really cheap out on these unless it's their high-end car, but this feels really, really nice. You have that nice premium touch, great execution. And then having the ambient lighting, I didn't realize how much ambient lighting makes a big difference in a car, because currently I have a car that's a little bit older than my SQ5, and that one has ambient lighting. And just that subtle touch of light at night just makes a big difference to make it feel more alive in the cabin instead of just like completely, you know, blacked out inside. So I do like the direction of having subtle lights. Some car brands are going overboard, like I think Mercedes kind of like crossed the line on what it is, but this here I think is great. And then of course you could change all that in infotainment and things like that. So great execution. Let's take a look at a little bit more of the interior. So here's a little bit more of a wider look at what you get. The 3 Series just always been so sick, but it gets better and better, and especially if you can get used to the screen, like I think you're set. Take a look in the back, and I love how much rear space you have, because this is like the perfect sweet spot, not too big, not too small, but it is more roomy than, let's say, like an Audi A3 or other cars like the Lexus, the IS, I think 350, and all of those. Really horrible rear seat space, but in this one you definitely have more space. You feel more comfortable, you don't feel like as tight, and then this seat's pretty far back too, so you can have even more space. And got your lighting there, and then it's nice that the ambient lighting actually goes through the back as well, because sometimes they'll have the front looking really nice and then you get to the back and it's, you know, completely just dark and cheaped out. This one, they gave you so many premium touches. It looks sick. Door handles, tweeter with the Harman Kardon system. I can already imagine that this sounds really, really good. So the seats in the back are really comfortable too. Like, it's really good. It doesn't feel like as good as the, you know, driver and passenger seat, but that's because there's more bolstering and a little bit more curvature to the design. This is like very flat. I thought it'd be a little bit more indented on the sides here, but like for a trip or whatever, I'd be totally fine. But the driver's seat, that's where it's at for sure. So since this is, you know, your everyday sedan, sports sedan, definitely need to see how practical it is in the back. So let's take a look in the trunk. So as you could see, you know, that license plate cover and things like that gives you a good reference of how much space you have in here. And then I love how the sides, especially a lot of German cars do this, where you just have like it indented on the sides, and then that way you have space for more storage. And then same thing on this side here. And they actually did a good job with just the space even up top, where that's like pretty much flat except for these levers there for the seats if you need to put it down and stuff. But they did a really good job. Like, this car is super nice. This would be the perfect daily for someone that wants the performance, but you know, you have kids or just need to have more people in the car from time to time. Like, this is a really, really good option. And just first impressions, I would take this over the Audi S4. And I like the RS3. I know that's a different, you know, flavor and a little bit more performance in some cases, but I think overall this is the perfect sweet spot where you just have everything that you need from a size standpoint, because that's the biggest downfall if maybe you're considering like a S3 or RS3 or even like the S4. I think this is just a better package. Let's definitely see what it sounds like. I know just from startup I was super impressed, but let me go ahead and give you some revs. I can't have a video without that, so let's check it out. All Alright, car fam, so there's a look at the 2023 BMW M340i with xDrive in Brooklyn Gray. So if you're interested in this car, I'll definitely leave their contact information below. Just head over to the description and then maybe the comment section too. Again, this is AutoNation BMW here in Roseville. Definitely check out the inventory. I actually got my first Honda from AutoNation, so super cool spot, highly recommend it. But yeah, this color right here, definitely check it out. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do. That way you don't miss out on any other future car videos I do. And then let me know which BMW I should show next. Catch you later. Peace.